Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. Most people are waiting on a miracle, waiting on a sign, waiting on next year, next month, or next Monday. But the truth is this life is not changed in big moments alone. Life is changed in hours. Every single hour you are breathing is proof that God is not finished with you yet. And if He's not finished, then that hour has purpose. See, too many of us waste time because we think time owes us something. Time doesn't owe you nothing. Time is a gift, and what you do with the next hour determines where you'll be standing next year. Success isn't built overnight, but it is built hourly. One better decision, one disciplined moment, one small improvement stacked on top of another. Some of you keep saying, "I'll start when I feel ready." Let me help you today. You're never going to feel ready. Ready is a lie comfort tells you to keep you stuck. Growth starts when discomfort walks in the room. That hour when you're tired, that hour when nobody is watching, that hour when quitting makes more sense, that's the hour that can change your life. Every hour you can learn something new. Every hour you can drop a bad habit. Every hour you can choose to speak life instead of fear. You don't need a whole new life. You just need a better use of the next 60 minutes. Stop looking at the clock like it's your enemy. That clock is your opportunity talking to you. Let me tell you why most people don't improve. Because improving requires honesty. You have to admit, I can be better, not perfect. Better, and better is available every hour. You don't have to beat anyone else. You just have to beat who you were an hour ago. God didn't wake you up today to repeat yesterday. He woke you up because there's growth waiting on your effort. That next hour can be the hour you pray instead of panic, the hour you work instead of complain, the hour you believe instead of doubt. And when you start winning hours, days will line up. When days line up, years change. Ladies and gentlemen, let me slow this thing down and talk to you real clear, because this is where most people miss it. Success is not some magical overnight moment where everything suddenly clicks. That's a fantasy. Real success is built quietly, hourly, when nobody is clapping for you and nobody is watching your effort. People love the finish line, but they don't respect the hours it took to get there. And that's why so many people stay stuck. They underestimate the power of one single hour used the right way. Every hour you are alive is a fresh chance to move forward. Not leap forward. Not become perfect. Just move forward. One better decision in this hour can correct a mistake you made yesterday. One focused hour can undo weeks of procrastination. But most people don't see hours as opportunities. They see them as time to kill. And when you kill time, time kills your dreams. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. When your life isn't changing, it's not because you don't have talent. It's not because you don't have potential. It's because you're careless with your hours. You wake up, scroll your life away, complain about what you don't have, and then go to sleep tired but not fulfilled. Being tired doesn't mean you worked hard. Being fulfilled means you work with purpose. An hour is powerful because it's manageable. God didn't give you tomorrow to control, and He didn't give you next year to handle all at once. He gave you right now, 60 minutes. That's it. And in that hour, you can read instead of distract yourself. You can practice instead of procrastinate. You can pray instead of panic. But see, discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now, and most people fail at that exchange. Every successful person you admire learned how to respect small blocks of time. They didn't always have motivation. Motivation comes and goes. What they had was commitment. Commitment to show up even when the mood wasn't right. Commitment to use the hour wisely even when nobody was rewarding them for it yet. That's how confidence is built, not from applause, but from promises you kept to yourself in quiet hours. Some of you are waiting for a breakthrough, but your breakthrough is waiting on you to stop wasting time. You say you want a better life, but you give your best hours to distractions and your leftovers to your dreams. That's backwards. Your dreams deserve your freshest energy, not what's left after everybody else has taken a piece of you. Let me say this clearly. The hour you don't feel like showing up is the hour that changes everything. That's the separator. Anybody can work when they're inspired. Anybody can push when they're excited. But growth happens when you show discipline without emotion backing you up. That hour builds character. That hour builds resilience. That hour builds the kind of confidence nobody can take from you. You don't need to overhaul your entire life today. That's overwhelming and unrealistic. You just need to win this hour. Improve something small. Learn one thing. Fix one habit. Make one better choice. Improvement compounds quietly. One good hour leads to another. Then momentum starts showing up. And once momentum shows up, life starts responding differently to you. Stop comparing your journey to people who are 10 years ahead of you. You don't see their lonely hours, their painful hours, their disciplined hours. You only see the highlight. Respect your process. Honor your timing. God is not late with you. He's waiting on you to become consistent. Every hour is a vote for the life you're building. When you waste it, you're voting against yourself. When you use it with intention, you're telling the universe, I'm serious now. And once you get serious, life has no choice but to respond. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for somebody to believe in you. Believe in the power of the hour you're standing in right now. Because that hour handled correctly can do more for your future than wishing ever will. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you about something that makes people uncomfortable, because improvement always starts with discomfort. The second key to understanding that every hour is an opportunity is realizing this truth. Growth does not happen when life is easy. Growth happens when you decide to change how you use your time under pressure. Anybody can feel strong when things are going well. Anybody can stay positive when the bills are paid and the path is clear. But the real test of who you're becoming shows up in the hard hours. Those tough hours are not punishment. They are training. See, God uses pressure to reveal potential. And when life squeezes you, what's inside you comes out. If excuses come out, that's what you've been feeding. If discipline comes out, that's what you've been practicing. Every difficult hour is asking you a question. Are you going to grow or are you going to repeat? Most people repeat. They repeat habits, repeat mistakes, repeat negative thinking, repeat the same conversations, the same complaints, the same fears. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Nothing changes because the hours look the same. You can't expect a new life from old hours. If you keep using your time the same way, your results will keep introducing themselves the same way too. Improvement requires awareness. You have to start paying attention to how you show up during the day. What do you do when you're tired? What do you do when you're discouraged? What do you do when nobody is pushing you? That's your real level. Not what you post online. Not what you say you want. What you do with unguarded hours tells the truth. Let me help somebody today. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be consistent. People burn out because they try to change everything at once. That's not growth, that's impatience. Growth is subtle. Growth is choosing better, not perfect. One better response, one better habit, one better use of time in this hour. That's how transformation sneaks up on you. There are hours meant for rest, and rest is not laziness. But rest is intentional. Scrolling with no purpose is not rest. Complaining is not rest. Avoiding responsibility is not rest. True rest prepares you to show up stronger in the next hour. When you confuse rest with escape, you delay your progress. Some of you are exhausted because you're fighting the same battles you should have outgrown by now. And you outgrow battles by improving how you handle your hours. You don't pray once and become disciplined forever. You don't decide one day and never struggle again. Improvement is a daily, hourly choice. That's why consistency beats intensity every time. Let me say something that might hurt a little. If you really wanted the life you say you want, your hours would reflect it. Desire without discipline is just wishful thinking. Dreams respect effort. Blessings show up where responsibility lives. When you start honoring your hours, doors start opening that you didn't even knock on yet. The beautiful thing about hours is that they forgive you. You can waste the last one, but this one is still clean. No matter how bad yesterday was, this hour is untouched. And that's mercy. That's grace. That's opportunity knocking again. But opportunity doesn't knock loud, it whispers. And if you're distracted, you'll miss it. Every hour gives you a chance to become someone slightly stronger, slightly wiser, slightly more focused. And those slightly moments add up. One day you wake up and realize you're no longer the person who used to quit doubt or settle. You didn't change overnight. You changed hour by hour. So respect the hard hours. Respect the boring hours. Respect the lonely hours. They are building something in you that applause never could. And when your moment finally comes, it won't feel like luck. It'll feel familiar because you've been preparing for it 1 hour at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you about consistency, because consistency is the quiet power most people overlook. Everybody wants a breakthrough, but very few people are willing to build the routine that makes a breakthrough possible. The third key to improving yourself every hour is understanding that what you do repeatedly becomes who you are. Your life right now is a reflection of your daily habits, not your big dreams. See, motivation is emotional. It comes when it wants to and leaves when it's done with you. If you're waiting to feel motivated to improve, you're going to wait your whole life. Discipline is what carries you when motivation disappears. And discipline isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about saying, I'm going to show up in this hour whether I feel like it or not. Most people think consistency is boring. They want excitement. They want something new all the time. But boring is where the results are. Nobody sees the power in doing the same small thing every day, but that's exactly how success is built. 1 hour focused today doesn't look impressive. But stack that hour over weeks, months, and years, and now you're dangerous in the best way. Let me tell you why people quit. They quit because they don't see immediate results. They work hard for a few days, maybe a week, and when life doesn't instantly reward them, they assume it's not working. Improvement doesn't announce itself. It happens quietly. By the time people notice, you've already changed. Every hour is a chance to reinforce a habit. You're either strengthening something that's helping you or something that's holding you back. There is no neutral. Watching how you use your time tells you what you truly value. If your habits don't match your goals are just words. Consistency also builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you do what you said you would do in an hour, you deposit confidence into yourself. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you withdraw from that account. Over time, that balance shows up in how you walk, how you speak, and how you face challenges. Some of you struggle with self-belief, not because you're incapable, but because you've been inconsistent. You've taught yourself that you can't be trusted. But the good news is trust can be rebuilt the same way it was lost hour by hour, one kept promise at a time. Let me also say this: consistency doesn't mean doing a lot. It means doing enough regularly. You don't have to exhaust yourself. You don't have to become obsessed. You just have to be steady. Slow growth is still growth, and steady progress beats rushed burnout every single time. Life will test your consistency. There will be hours when you're tired, distracted, discouraged, or doubting yourself. Those hours are not accidents. They're checkpoints. They're asking, are you serious or are you emotional? Serious people keep going even when emotions change. When you stay consistent, you stop needing external validation. You don't need applause to keep going because your confidence is rooted in discipline. You know who you are because you've proven it to yourself in private hours. And here's the part that really matters. Consistency creates identity. At some point, you stop trying to improve, and you become the kind of person who improves naturally. You don't force growth anymore. Growth becomes your default. Every hour you choose consistency over comfort, you're shaping your future without even realizing it. You're becoming stronger, wiser, more reliable. And one day, when people ask how you changed, you won't have a dramatic story. You'll just say you decided to stop wasting hours, and you never look back. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you about mindset, because improvement always begins in the mind before it ever shows up in your life. The fourth key to using every hour as an opportunity is learning how to control what you think during that hour. Your thoughts are powerful, and if you don't manage them, they will manage you. A negative mind will turn even a good hour into a wasted one. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they allow their thoughts to talk them out of effort. That voice in your head will always try to keep you safe, comfortable, and familiar. But safe is not where growth lives. Comfortable is not where dreams are born. And familiar is often the enemy of improvement. Every hour you are either feeding fear or feeding faith. There is no in between. Fear sounds logical. It reminds you of past failures. It shows you everything that could go wrong. Faith doesn't always make sense, but it pushes you forward anyway. The life you want is on the other side of the thoughts you keep avoiding. Let me tell you something important. You don't control what thoughts show up, but you do control which ones you entertain. A bad thought knocking at your door is not a problem. Inviting it in, sitting it down, and letting it run the hour, that's the problem. Improvement starts when you learn how to redirect your thinking in real time. Some of you lose hours replaying conversations that already happened, worrying about situations you can't change, and stressing about futures you can't predict. That's mental theft. Your peace is being robbed, and you're helping the thief. When you take control of your mindset, you take control of your time. A strong mindset doesn't mean you never doubt. It means you don't let doubt stay. It means when negative thoughts show up, you challenge them with truth. You remind yourself how far you've come. You remind yourself that growth is a process, not a performance. Let me say this clearly: how you talk to yourself in quiet hours shapes who you become. If you speak defeat, you'll act defeated. If you speak belief, you'll act bold. The mind believes what it hears most often, especially from you. Every hour is an opportunity to practice better thinking, to choose gratitude instead of complaining, to choose focus instead of distraction, to choose courage instead of excuses. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Mindset also determines how you respond to setbacks. A weak mindset asks, "Why is this happening to me?" A strong mindset asks, "What is this trying to teach me?" Same situation, different outcome. One creates growth, the other creates bitterness. Some of you are stuck not because life is unfair, but because you refuse to release old ways of thinking. You can't step into a new level with an old mindset. Improvement requires mental upgrades. And those upgrades don't happen overnight. They happen hour by hour, thought by thought. The most dangerous hours are the ones where you're alone with your thoughts. That's when doubt tries to take over. That's when fear speaks the loudest. But that's also when breakthroughs begin if you choose to think differently. When you start mastering your mindset, hours stop controlling you. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop being emotional and start being intentional. And that's when life changes. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you about responsibility, because improvement does not happen until you fully own your life. The fifth key to using every hour as an opportunity is accepting that where you are right now is largely the result of choices you've been making. Not luck, not people, not circumstances. And I know that's hard to hear, but it's also the most empowering truth you'll ever accept. See, the moment you stop blaming, you start growing. As long as it's somebody else's fault, you don't have to change. But when you finally say, "This is on me," you take your power back. Responsibility is not about beating yourself up for past mistakes. It's about deciding that the next hour belongs to you. Most people give their power away without realizing it. They give it to their past, their upbringing, their failures, their disappointments. They let yesterday explain why today won't work. But improvement doesn't care about excuses. Improvement responds to ownership. When you own your hour, you own your direction. Let me say this clearly. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond in this hour. You can control your effort. You can control your attitude. You can control whether you learn or complain. And those choices shape your future more than any external situation ever could. Some of you are waiting for life to be fair before you improve. Let me help you. Life is not fair. It never has been. But fairness has nothing to do with progress. Responsibility is about saying, even if it's not fair, I'm still going to grow. That mindset separates leaders from victims. Every hour you avoid responsibility, you delay your potential. Every hour you accept it, you move closer to the life you want. Responsibility turns problems into lessons. It turns pain into wisdom. It turns failure into direction. You see, strong people don't pretend they've never failed. Strong people admit they failed and then ask better questions. Not, "Why me?" but "What now?" That shift in thinking changes how you use your time. Instead of replaying mistakes, you start correcting them. Let me talk about discipline again, because responsibility and discipline are cousins. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting to be pushed. You stop needing reminders. You stop looking for motivation. You move because you understand what's at stake. You realize nobody is coming to save you, and instead of panicking, you step up. Some of you are frustrated because you feel stuck. But being stuck is often a sign that you've been avoiding a responsibility you already know you need to take. The moment you face it, movement starts again. Growth resumes the second you stop running from truth. Responsibility also means protecting your time. Not everyone deserves access to your hours. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Not every distraction deserves your attention. When you take responsibility for your life, you become selective. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't building with you. Here's the beautiful part about responsibility. It's heavy at first, but it gets lighter as you grow stronger. The more you carry it, the more capable you become. And one day, what once felt overwhelming becomes manageable, then normal. Every hour is asking you a question. Are you going to own this moment, or are you going to give it away? Improvement begins the moment you choose ownership. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you about faith and patience, because the final key to improving yourself every hour is trusting the process even when you can't see the results yet. Most people quit too soon, not because they're incapable, but because they expect instant rewards from long-term work. Growth doesn't move on your schedule. It moves on principle. Every hour you invest in becoming better is planting a seed. And here's the hard part. Seeds grow underground first. You don't see anything happening, but something is happening. Roots are forming. Strength is being built. But because you don't see progress immediately, you start doubting your effort. That doubt is what stops most people right before their breakthrough. Let me help you understand something. Just because nothing is changing on the outside doesn't mean nothing is changing on the inside. Improvement starts internally in your mindset, your discipline, your habits. The outside catches up later. If you don't have patience, you'll dig up your own seed to check if it's growing, and in the process, you kill it. Faith is not pretending things are easy. Faith is continuing to work when things are hard and unclear. Faith is showing up in the hour even when motivation is gone and results are invisible. That's real belief. That's trust in the process. Some of you are frustrated because you feel like you're doing everything right and still not getting results. But growth has a delay. There's a gap between effort and reward. And that gap is where character is built. If rewards came instantly, everyone would succeed. But only those who can wait while working are chosen for the next level. Patience doesn't mean sitting still. Patience means moving forward without rushing the outcome. It means trusting that consistency will pay off. Every disciplined hour is preparing you for something bigger than what you can currently